Yo,
Yo, what's up?
what up, bro?
What's up, brother?
You ready to do this?
Hell yeah. Just
Listen,
gonna share it out there.
I'm gonna have to start the show off with a little message to crypto Twitter, and
Hell yeah.
then we gonna hop right into this thing. But I got something to get off my chest, bro.
Sounds good.
I got something to get off my chest. Hold on, where the show at? Oh, there it is. All right, here we go. All right, we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the nightly recap with Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. Hotep, you're a genius. Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Tonight, I will be joined by the esteemed technical analysis guru from CIA's lab in Langley, Crypto Landy, aka Langley Landy. But in the meantime, I have a message for Crypto Twitter. So this week I opened up my app, and again, I have to watch Crypto Twitter frolic and play and gallivant, take pictures and content create and hug and kiss each other. And nobody gave me a fucking invite. You guys are out in Dubai running around with sheiks and head wrap Muslims and shit. And nobody invited me. Nobody invited me to Dubai. Every time you have a fucking crypto conference, you know who's not there? Me. How y'all having crypto parties and you ain't invite Hotep Jesus?
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
How the fuck y'all out in Dubai and you ain't invite Hotep Jesus?
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
You know, this is a disservice, not only to me, not only to yourself, but to the crypto community as a whole.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Y'all are missing out by not having me there. You guys do not realize the amount of epicness you've missed out on. You hurting yourself more than you hurting me. I'm going to be all right. But you not going to be all right without me.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
You need me. You need me. You need Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
And until you do right by me, you will be cursed.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Just all out in Dubai, just having all kinds of fun in Dubai, just running around, smiling, taking pictures and whatnot. I ain't get a single DM. I ain't get a single hi. Nobody even tagged me and said, "Hey, Hotep Jesus, are you out here?" No, y'all just forgot all the fuck about me. Where's the love?
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
The next time y'all have another crypto conference and you don't invite me, that's gonna be your ass.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Without further ado, Landy, welcome to the show, bro. What's up, Landy?
What's up?
Welcome back, bro.
Well, thank you for having me. Look, I wasn't invited either, so I ended up on TikTok, and now I'm in a basketball jersey, and I'm wearing the number 67. So I'm not quite sure what's happening. It's all new to me, but I'm just rolling with it.
How are they having these events without us, bro?
Well, I voluntarily opted out of events a long time ago because, well, I'm just a little puppet. It's hard to see the stage when there's too many people. I got to be up on somebody's shoulders. Doesn't feel right. It's kind of, it's a little sus, right? So I figured it'd be better if I didn't go.
Isn't it absolutely treasonous for them to not have me there?
Yeah, I don't know why you're not there. I would expect someone like yourself to be there.
This is why they keep snubbing me. Why keep getting snubbed? Why Hotep Jesus can't get no love?
Do they not know about Hotep Jesus?
This is crazy, yo. I ain't never been to Dubai. I want to go to Dubai. I want to shake hands with the sheiks. You know what I'm saying? I want to see the desert sands. You know?
Yeah.
Why I can't be invited? Niggas ain't never invite me to Dubai. This is ridiculous. I'm upset.
I don't blame you. And they have a Bitcoin conference out there, right? And they didn't reach out. They didn't even try to reach out to this little Bitcoin puppet either. So I think it's they've lost their way. They've lost.
This is crazy, man. I gotta figure out what's going on with the crypto Illuminati and shit. Cause so I got to 2 Bitcoin conferences, right? The first conference I went to, they gave me a VIP pass. And then I ain't gonna say no names, but one dude who worked at the Bitcoin magazine, he was like, Hotep, you're supposed to be on the stage, right? It's fucked up they ain't put you on the stage. I'm like, it's all good, bro. I'm here. I'm just having fun. Then the next time they invited me, they put me on the news desk and I killed that shit. I rocked that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I had to pull somebody pulled strings because I didn't ask to go on there, right? But somebody was like, yo, we got to get Hotep on here. So they went behind, doors and, pulled some strings and got me on the news desk and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit was dope. That shit was fun. Then the next year, I ain't get an invite or a ticket or nothing.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right.
I'm tired of being snubbed. But it's okay. One day I'm gonna throw a party and I ain't inviting none of you motherfuckers. They don't want to hear the truth? Yeah, they want to keep being lied to themselves. That's exactly what it is. Anyway, Landy, we had quite an interesting trading day today in particular. Do you want to take us through what in the hell was that crash out of a day today? That was absolutely insane.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people were feeling it on the NASDAQ side, right? That was really what it came down to is NASDAQ dropped, and it actually dropped into an area that I had previously spoken about earlier this week that I was looking for if we didn't get continuation to the upside. And what was kind of driving things was, we were, coming off of a pretty strong downtrend. And we kind of made some swing trend and some higher lows in here. And then we kind of topped out right around 25, 835 or so, right? Kept spiking that area. And I basically said, if we drop the low, we're headed back to a basis band or a 20 simple, somewhere around this low side structure here, where the gap is, right? We came up just shy of it, 25, 100 or so.
Uh-huh.
Now, a lot of this is because jobs data came out. So IC data came out, initial claims or unemployment claims came out, and we're coming off of data that was over the holidays, so it was very low, and in fact, almost historically low for recent history for initial claims. And we now saw a big move up. So essentially, what we had was, let me go ahead and take a look. On Thursday, the market was kind of digesting this data that came out. We had the cut. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, cuts mean we're so bullish." And quite honestly, I don't think that people understand history when we move from quantitative tightening to quantitative easing. Um, it's kind of what it tells me across at least the crypto space. But what we ended up with on Thursday after the FOMC meeting is we ended up with unemployment claims data right here, and it came in quite a bit over projected. So this is important to understand because the Fed didn't come out hawkish. The Fed actually was a little bit more dovish than I think some people expected, and some
Wait, what's the difference between hawkish and dovish?
well, hawkish would be, they might want to hold rates.
Okay.
But the language was a little bit more dovish because they're carefully watching what's going on in the employment side of their mandate
Mm-hmm.
as it relates to inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And what the expectation was going into the meeting is that they might be a little bit more hawkish, either pause or just indicate one cut. They spoke a little bit more dovishly about the way that they, are looking at the potential for cuts in the future, and indicated at least one more cut, possibly in January. But they didn't commit to it, right? And then the next day, we get unemployment claims higher than the forecast and quite a bit higher than the previous read, which again was over the holiday. So it's not abnormal to see a lower read over a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And then but we had a big move over forecast,
Mm-hmm.
and typically this is not good for the economy, right? We're in a period where we have a lot of economic data that is going to be coming out post FOMC rate decision, right? There
Mm-hmm.
was at least one governor that uh, wanted a 50 basis point cut, and I think they were on the right track. Two that didn't want it, and then the rest voted for a 25 basis point cut.
Right.
But realistically, what a lot of this is positioning for next week, which is the last full week of trading, right? And
Mm.
next week is full of economic data. So like not really anything on Monday of interest to directly to the United States, obviously to the global economy, but it's really about Tuesday where we get ADP again. We get our
Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah. Well, look at this. We're stacked. We're stacked, man. ADP, average hourly earnings, core retail sales, non-farm employment change, retail sales, and then unemployment rate. And
Oof.
what we saw is we had IC or initial claims, right? Which is unemployment claims was pretty low. And we have this big divergence between unemployment claims and unemployment rate. You might remember last week when I talked to you, I said I expect 4.5% unemployment rate.
Mm-hmm.
And they just updated their forecast to be 4.5%. That's what my metrics are telling me. They finally updated to it. Yeah. This
Mm.
is bad though. This is bad for the Fed, for the economy. Right now, we're in this tricky place where the Fed needs to support the employment side of their mandate,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to be careful coming into next year about goosing inflation, right? Because then they're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, right? Where you get stagflation, or you end up in a situation where they cut too deep, and then we get rampant inflation, right? To try
Mm.
and save the jobs market. So they're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have a window, because right now, if we go back into tightening, we're going into a recession. If we start seeing a steepening in the yield curve, we're likely going into a recession. But there is a scenario, a lower likelihood, but a scenario that could play out like 1995, where we kind of tread water and then goose the economy while keeping inflation low. This is going to depend on um, it's just going to depend on the funds from the big beautiful bill making their way into the economy. Excuse me, I'm getting a little sick. But the reason why I say that is because next year, coming into January, we're going to have funds that are going to be coming from the big beautiful bill to support a lot of the initiatives that the Trump administration had set forth, and in terms of their goals. That's money coming in, right? That's spending.
Mhm.
We need that spending plus lower rates to kind of head things off, because just a cut doesn't do much, right? A cut is good for liquidity and refinancing, but we haven't moved into QE. I think the Fed is going to have to move into QE very quickly. I think that the big concern is the possibility of another government shutdown next month. So we're seeing the market react to that, right? So we're seeing the market react to that over here in NASDAQ. And I suspect we have to see where things will come in next week for like NASDAQ. We had a good move up on Dow though. Dow has a nice structure, right? So we saw a move from tech into
Mhm.
into Dow, essentially from the Mag 7 into Dow.
What's Dow? What do they cover? That's more legacy
DJI.
shit?
Yeah, it's you could think about it like real product almost. I mean, that's
Okay.
not quite. This is just to keep it simple, but Dow is going to be kind of your more stable fundamental plays and a little less speculative when looking
Mhm.
at the market like this. So we moved from, it was kind of a risk off move, right? It is to sell out of Dow, or a sell out of NASDAQ plays into Dow. But we also saw a big sell off and a little bit of a higher high
Wait,
on
what ticker
SPY
you
here.
looking at? DIA or
So
DAP? You on
this is
Dow?
NDX. So this is NASDAQ. It,
NDX?
yep, NDX is
Okay.
NASDAQ
Okay.
for what I'm using right now. And then DJI is your Dow Jones Industrial Average.
Oh, you use
So
DJI. Okay.
yeah.
I see
And
it now.
then I use SPY or SPX. It really just depends on who I'm talking to. I mean, SPY is fine. It's the same thing essentially.
Mhm.
Um, but the SPY is the trust, whereas SPX is the index, right? So I
Mhm.
like to look at the trust. It's just easier because then I can say 681 instead of 6,810.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So, but we saw SPY sell off and kind of putting in a little bit of a rounded top. The actual danger for something like SPY is a double top up here, because we have a lower low in place for SPY.
Mhm. That's what Renee
Um,
said. We got a double top going on.
yeah, and yeah, actually, I think Renee and a few others were talking about this in your chats, right?
Mhm.
Um, we have a lower low. If we do double top here, it's looking pretty bad. I wouldn't call it like anything too crazy, but we'd have to see where things go, because if we drop the lows, if we put in a high below 678, we're probably headed back down to a basis band somewhere around the 660 level in the longer term, and then running this low between that 660 and 650 area,
Mhm.
and that would be crucial to see if it would hold up or break down.
On the
Um,
SPY, Markel says we got a double bottom too.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a range look if you're gonna draw out support and resistance. You have the low over here at 652. It was swung. We have the high up here at 689, almost 690. Didn't quite swing it, but did close above the prior open high here, which came in at 685. So it's kind of trapping, right? And this is indicative of the market just being unsure of what's going to be happening next, watching employment very carefully. We're seeing that, the Fed obviously with the cut, that's a positive thing for liquidity.
Mhm.
And they've indicated they're going to start doing balance sheet expansion, which is always the precursor to QE. I think they're going to have to move into to a policy of tranche buys for that, to be quite honest, sooner
Mm.
rather than later. But a lot of this is predicated on, and obviously the weekly on Dow looks fine actually. So, we're getting some mixed signals from the market. It's kind of a holding pattern right now. And a
Mhm.
lot of that is going to be predicated on employment data that's coming out in the remainder of this month. And let me switch over real quick to this, because Tuesday is going to be a big day, right? We got all kinds of, we got flash PMI manufacturing, flash PMI manufacturing and services. We've got all our unemployment, retail, and some jobs stuff coming in on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, we have CPI, and then we have initial claims or unemployment claims again. So Tuesday, Thursday next week is big, and I think the market kind of selling off today as a response to the initial claims rising fairly sharply over the forecast. And then, the fact that we're kind of staring down the barrel of a recession. Can the Fed, thread the needle? Yes, but we need a lot of things to go right. We need we need them to actually be aggressive next month. We probably need them to move to QE fairly quickly, probably next month or February, or at least indicate that they're going to do it. And then we need the Democrats to not try to sabotage everything next month and hold things up, because if they prevent spending, that's going to really, really hurt the economy, the real economy, and that's going to be reflected in markets and probably throw us into a recession, because we have a window of, in my opinion, 3 to maybe 5 months max, which puts a new Fed chair in charge right around that time period,
Mhm.
either dealing with an absolute dumpster fire or continuing to thread the needle. I really don't. I don't see any other way than, things going in a perfect world. We see um, we see that the mandate of employment gets tackled, and we see that markets melt up, and that's something that remains to be seen. And I think next week is going to tell the story in large part through the end of the year, as it will be the setup for things in traditional markets. And then when you look at something like Bitcoin's done a whole lot of nothing, right? Bitcoin is just hanging out in a weekly range. Nothing really that interesting. People getting really, really like divergent opinions while it's just kind of going sideways in between a weekly range between this higher low close at 93 and a half and this lower high close at 86. And then we have an inflection point. Let me actually switch over here. Sorry. We have the higher low at 93 and a half. We have the lower high at 86K. And then we have an inflection point, a swing higher low and a swing lower high at 89K. And Bitcoin's just hanging out in this weekly range. No closes outside of it since getting in it. We have seen a swing down to the next major weekly level here at 78. I'm sorry, 78 to 80, which the top side here is like 80,000, 80,500. We saw that hit. Next big weekly level to the downside would be, 78, and then it's mid 70s. But nothing too crazy. If you look at the as I drop things on my desk here, hold on a second.
We got a upward trend on the 5-day. On the weekly, we got we got an inside bar, a outside doji, and then a upside doji on the
Yeah,
weekly. But
I
we're trending up. It's very stable at this price range. What is this? 91.04 to like 90.070.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of just in that range.
if you look here on the 5-day, and
Mhm.
it still hasn't set a closing low. You will see some technical indicators will say like, oh well, the last 5-day closed above the 90,000, 470.
Yeah.
But in reality, because it hasn't been able to escape that bearish wick high in a close, I don't consider it an actual closing structure.
Mhm.
You will see that many indicators, even like my RSI indicator here, is showing it as a close. I always say that if you don't see the close above that bear wick high there, or a bear wick high like at a higher time frame like this, it
Mhm.
means nothing. And realistically,
Well, we gotta wait till Tuesday for it to close.
yeah. I mean, it's if you look at the daily here from my chart, this is just a weekly level, right?
Mhm.
So we just got this wider weekly level that I can zoom in on, and Bitcoin's just trapped in this weekly levels. You know, we had the move down to 93.5 weekly. We
Mhm.
moved into the zone, hit that 89 inflection point, that swing, moved to the
Mhm.
bottom side at 86, lost
Mhm.
it, went right for the next weekly at 80,000, 80,500, right? Once
Mhm.
it regained, it went right to 89, the inflection point, the swing, higher
Wait,
low,
stop right
lower
there.
high. Yeah.
What are these weekly indicators you got going on here?
This right here, this bottom side of this zone is the $86,000 lower high
Did you draw that?
close. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just my manual charting, right? This is just horizontal levels. So
Okay.
this is the
All right.
$86,000 lower high close. Right here is a fib that I have on the chart. It's a long-term fib from 69 to 15.5 on spot. And
Mhm.
this is a 16.8% or a 1.168, not a 61.8, but a 16.8. And
Mhm.
that's right at 88.7.
Mhm.
And then we see this other line inside these weeklies is 89K. This is the higher low swing and the lower high swing. So we had the $86,000 close. We had a lower high swing at 89. That was also the higher low swing of the close up here, which was a higher low. This
Mhm.
was 93.5, right? So 93.5 on the weekly was the higher low before we pushed up to make new all-time highs, right?
Mhm.
And that was a key area that was lost on the way down. Um, and if we look at the weekly, like if I scroll back out to this weekly here, you'll see that we made a higher low over here at 93.5 on a close open
Mhm.
basis. Then we made a new all-time high, but the swing low there is at 89, right? So we have the higher low at 93.5. We have 89 right on a major fib level for me. And we made the new all-time high. We dumped down all the way through it, that big liquidation event,
Mhm.
but closed above 93.5, and then we lost it, right? And then we came up and we made a lower high swing right at that higher low swing at 89 or just
Mhm.
about 89, with the close of that lower high coming in at 86. So this zone is just 86, 89, 93.5 for me. And if you look at it on the daily, and we track price for Bitcoin as it's been in these weeklies, it's been playing the weeklies like magic. Like I just have weeklies essentially list, you know, all my zones are weeklies basically.
Mhm.
Um, After regaining, you know, after tapping on the weekly down below at 80,500, which is a weekly close open, we went right back to 89, then held 86, right? Got above 89, where'd it go? Tried for the top side at 93 to 93.5, came right back down to 86. It did swing below to swing that to claim that higher low close, right around 83.8 to 84K, but it closed inside the weekly at 86 here. Came right back to the top side, 93.5, swings outside of it, you know, almost 94 there. And now we're squeezing inside of this weekly range. So after the big expansive move down, we're just consolidating inside of this range. And in fact, we're even tighter inside of this range. You see, we haven't closed above the weekly at 93.5, 93.5,
Mhm.
and we haven't closed below 89 here on the daily, but we've swung both sides. So swung the top side of the weekly, swung that inflection point there where the swings come in at 89. And then now we're just compressing even further. So it's actually pretty easy to see what's going to happen. If we get any closes above 93.5, that get above, you know, we're going to go test the highs again, 94, 94.5, right up to probably 96, which is a point of control. Point of control is just the highest volume traded price up here is at 96, 96.3. And then if we do see any closes above there, we're
We
going
got
to
to
get
get
a
you some aura, man.
man. I
Metavorted.com. I'm gonna get coupon code
yes.
HJX, man. We gotta get you some aura to clean. It'll help that congestion you got.
Yeah, man, I do definitely need it. Look,
Mhm.
if anybody doesn't know, you need to go to menoforder.com and get you some of what Hotep's got.
Mhm. Mhm.
But above, if you look here, like we could easily, if we start closing above the weekly here, I'm looking essentially 96K, right?
Mm.
Anywhere above there, I'd be looking for expansion up to this area that was lost, right? We saw this weekly get tested as support before it broke down, right? And it hasn't had a bearish retest. This is 98 to 101.
Mhm.
And this is the area that the bulls need to reclaim to even have any kind of a shot at
Mm.
some further upside price action. But
What's that price?
that's 98 to 101.
Wow.
And then it's right back in the thick of more weeklies, man. There's so much overhead resistance. But
Mhm.
I'd be looking for, if you see a move above 93.5, 94K, I'd look to 96 to 98. And then 98 to that 101 as the big weekly area as resistance that we need to see the bulls reclaim and show that they can trade and close above on the daily.
Mm.
Otherwise, below 89 on a close, we're running back to, I would say below 89 on a close, especially. I'm looking to the bottom side of the range, 80, 86K, anywhere below there, 84. If we drop 84, I'm looking 80,000 to 78, these weeklies down here. And then we kind of take it from there. If it starts to close below 78, we're hitting mid 70s. We're going for that monthly higher low structure. And this is not a good, this is not a bullish consolidation as it stands right now. This is full of bearish divergences.
Mhm.
These are continuation drives or hidden drives. And if we look at something like an RSI that has like readouts for the bearish control zone down here, that's at the lows, essentially $82,000, right? If we saw it come down and tap on the edge of the bearish control zone. But if we start to see it trade back up towards the edge of the bullish control zone, that would put us, around the $99,000 to $100,000 level, which essentially, what does that mean? That means if we're headed towards the bearish control zone, we're headed back to this low side structure here to swing this low. That brings 80 to 78 into play. If we're headed towards the bullish control zone, we're looking up towards this weekly here between 98 and 101, essentially. It's a pretty easy setup, to be honest with you, for Bitcoin. It's just a matter of like, we're now tightening in this range, and we've been on the lows total since we hit 80.
Mhm.
We've been on the lows for let's see, we've been on the lows for, this will be the 22nd day. So people are getting antsy as price compression is happening in this range here. So every little move to the upside, the bulls are screaming, it's a bull market. If it's all back on, every move to the downside, the bears are screaming about how it's going to zero. And to be quite honest, until we see it resolving below 86 on daily closes, and even then, we need to see 84 dropped on a close if it hasn't already headed down to hit, some lower levels, maybe a front run of 80K and then possibly 80 to 78. There's nothing to be had here, to be quite honest. Same for the upside. We need to see closes above that 93.5 weekly to 94K. And then it's, probably going to slam its head right into 96 to 98. And realistically, what are we waiting for? We need to see 98 to 101 and a reclaim of that.
Let me see if I can take a guess here. Oh no, today we closed with a doogie.
Well, I mean, this is current price action right now.
That's a slim doogie too. Like the wick ain't even that big on that doogie for the day.
Well, this is today. So this is the Saturday candle. Friday's candle closed and set this as a high.
Wait, are we already on a Saturday? You're right.
Yeah,
That's the
Saturday
Saturday candle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's the opening. Wait,
Yeah.
what time is it on?
Well, we got, so 0 UTC is the close open, right? And that means
When is
it's
that?
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific.
What part of the world is that?
UTC?
0 midnight. Oh, they're going. Oh, that's the prime meridian. Wait, Zulu time? That's what it say on Google.
Yeah, it's military
Also
time. 0 UTC.
0 UTC. What part of the world is
Universal time code. So
is that London?
What's in 0? Oh, you're asking what is
Yeah.
in 0 UTC?
Yeah, it's London.
Yeah.
London, UK. Oh, all Bitcoin runs on UK time. So that that goes into what what's the name was saying. John McAfee saying that Satoshi's a UK cat.
Maybe
Mm.
it'd be funny if it was a collaboration,
Mm.
right? It'd be funny if it was a
Yeah,
collaboration
I
between.
think I think it I think it I think it definitely was a collaboration, but I think the head honcho is a UK cat. That's what McAfee said.
Yeah, he said a lot of things that turned out to be true, which is pretty interesting. You think he's
Mhm.
still alive?
Who? McAfee?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Cuba partying with Tupac. Yeah. Shout out
Yo,
to
why
shout out
Cuba, bro? Yo, get out.
to shout out to Janice. Shout out to Janice. Um, but yeah, he's still alive, at least in my mind. I can't deal with the fact that he's dead. I refuse.
That's funny, man.
Okay,
Yeah.
so all right, so that's the open for okay, that's a Saturday open. So
Yeah.
so today, or yeah, well, technically today, we've got an inside. So yeah, okay, all right.
What's
And the day
ugly
before we got a lower low.
what's ugly is these weeklies, man. This is indicative of indecision right
A
here.
lot of indecision.
Yep.
Doogie, back to back doogies,
I'm
right
gonna
after
show
the
you
inside.
I'm gonna show you the alpha though here. See
Mm,
that lower second standard deviation?
mhm,
If we close below that again, that's $86,000. It's dead on the weekly. If we close below that again, that's
mhm,
continuation of expansion to the next major weekly level. Volatility expansion is now encompassing the almost the entirety of the next weekly level between the mid 70s and $80,000. So if we see that dropped on a weekly close, if we haven't already tried to test these areas down here,
mm,
it's very highly likely that we will. Now look where my POC is. 96, right? A little above 96, we have the lower first standard deviation. If we can reclaim that, we have a high probability of testing 98 to 101 initially. And then if you look
mhm,
at the basis, which is a 20 simple moving average, and for the audience here, this is just one standard deviation away to the downside, and then two standard deviations away to the downside, and then
mm,
three all the way down there. It's all off the screen, but
mhm,
that's three standard deviations to the downside away from a moving average, this being a basis band, which is just a 20 simple moving average. But look at where this is. This is right at the key weekly level that was holding price up here at 107 to 108. This is
mhm,
likely going to drop through it. This lower first is likely going to drop through this POC. This lower second is going to give room to the downside, likely in and around $84 to $85,000. And then the lower third, all it's doing is giving room to the downside as
mhm,
these moving averages and standard deviations line up with overhead resistance. This is not a bullish look. This is
mm,
a bearish look. This is set up for, even if we put in a low here, right? This is set up for something like this. I'm going to take off because it really doesn't matter. I'm just going to draw an example here.
mhm,
The type of move that this is set up for, even if we set a low, which realistically you would need to see a low above around 94, 94 and a half, right? For the weekly to actually set that low. But what it's set up for is something like this. That's what it's set up
mm,
for.
mm,
Is like get everybody bullish, reclaim some prior resistances. That's what the setup is right now. If you're going to be a bull, what you need to be aware of is if this holds up here and this low especially holds at 80,500, that we don't come all the way back up, fake you out through this low, right up to this low, and then reject right around the area. This was the low that broke, right? This would be a retest. Yeah, we broke this higher low over here, but the retest is really around this low side structure for the initial break. You know, because we just shot through 101 to 98. It held up for a few days, but not on a weekly.
mhm,
So this right here is 101 to 98 on this weekly.
mhm,
That needs to be reclaimed, and then we can entertain a move back to, you know, the high side structures over here, and then possibly up to that 107, 108. But that's right where a basis band is. That's right where, you know, the longer we spend down here, a lower first could line up for a rejection there, as well, or an upper first, rather, above the basis could line up for a rejection. That's a bearish setup.
So, quick question on the landy bands.
Mhm.
When we see those standard deviations start to spread out from each other, what is that signal?
Expansion, volatility expansion.
Okay.
So we're in an expansive phase because,
And what does expansion mean?
well, we had price compression or consolidation up here at the highs because it's just reading 20 simple moving averages, the 20 prior bars,
Right.
right? Relative to the time frame you're on. So it's the 20 prior weeklies kind of going, sideways with the closes here. Basis catches up, and price kind of sits on it, gets under it, and we see this squeeze or consolidation and price action here.
Yeah.
And then we break down. Once we lost that low, we hit expansion right into this next low side area right here, and then continuation of that expansion down to the next key levels, which was this low over here, right? This low at 93.5. You see this candle hit it after losing this, right? After losing 98, hit that, right? And then it's down to the next level, hit this guy right here, and then hit this, in this guy right here, right? So we're literally tracking closes. If you look at price structure, it's so damn clean. I freaking love Bitcoin. It's the cleanest trading asset on the planet. You look at this low, right? Price sat on it. It swung below it, but didn't close. Once it closed below it, rejected it, moved to the next, level. This guy here, right? So we had this level here to this level. I'm misclicking here. This level here. So we lose this low. We move to this low, right? So we were sitting on this one. We break down and close below this low. We go to the next zone right here, right? And then what happens when we break? We even retested this low that we lost. And then we move down to the next level, which is this low right here, right? And then we just we got that low to this guy here, right? We move down right on this candle right to this higher low structure, and then we retested lower term time frames, and then come down through this low side structure, which is also this lower high, to this guy here. No close below, but all in one fell swoop, right? We saw no close below this low, but sitting around this lower high rather on the weekly. No close below it yet, but we swung down to already hit this low right here on the weekly. So Bitcoin is playing the weeklies perfectly, right? I mean, just look at that swing right into that weekly close open right there. So if it loses it, it's running the rest of the low side structure into this high side structure, right? And same thing back to the upside, right? We need to reclaim this low 98 to 101. And then it's all about the highs over here, but the highs are mixed in with this low right here. So you have a bunch of overhead resistance from these highs, plus you have this low. So if we recapture this low right here at 98 to 101, then we're dealing with the high side structure and the lows of this consolidation at the highs over here. So it's set up for a rejection. It's set up for a bearish, retest. Whenever Bitcoin does confirm the low on the weekly. That's my take on it. That doesn't mean that it's like over and everything's dead and we're all going to zero, but it definitely supports the bear case for rolling over into a bear market. And we just evaluate, wherever this low comes in, right? Then we just evaluate if it rejects here. There's a few scenarios that could play out, right? If just speculating, if this was the low, and it comes up here and puts in a lower high, it can do one of two things. It's either going to get continuation, right? Below this low, and then that's a bear trend confirmed because this was an uptrend. This is the trend break. You get the reversal set up, and then you get continuation. The other thing that it could potentially do is come up, make a lower high, and then come down and try to do a higher low, equal low setup, and then take out that lower high to try and run these highs up here again. That is a lower likelihood, I'll be honest with you, considering the macroeconomic environment. But, it can't be ruled out because this right now on the weekly is simply a structure break. I'll be honest, if we drop these lows over here, this 78 to that mid 70s and start dropping down into this range, it's almost certainly going to be a bear market that we're staring at. It's just, How early are you to it? I mean, I called for 123 to 125. That was, and I didn't call it as like macro top. It was just local top could turn into a macro top, right? And we closed at 123 on the weekly. We swung 126.3 on the high. Dailies didn't close above 125 really for spot. So I hit my targets. I took all my shorts at 123. I'm loaded and ready for the bear. I'm not going to change that position until I see a daily uptrend that can either lead to a daily trend break or to a weekly trend break. And there's only one way to do that from here because this is a downtrend. The only way for this to trend break from here would be to go and make a new all-time high directly, right? That would have to take out the prior higher high because we're in lower lows. It would have to take out the higher high. And even then there would be opportunity because then we have to build higher low structure and there's a lot more room to do it in. But more likely is this scenario: come up, make a lower high and then lower low. And the lower high is going to probably be a lot of bull bait to short fills. And then we evaluate continuation or possible higher low equal low structure from there. That's really where I'm at, and take it one step at a time.
There it is, chat. The Bears Chicago Bears are moving in. They're moving in.
The Pope has got our back.
Yeah.
The bear. Oh God, the Pope has got the bear back. Yo,
you getting canceled for that one?
That
was low.
That was
low, Landy.
That was a low. Look, I mean, he's a supporter of the Bears, so and they were power bottoms for a long time, bro.
Wow,
the Bears are power bottoms for a long time.
Oh my Lord Jesus! See, that's our time, folks. That's our cue. We got to go. We got to get out of here. This is crazy. This is wild. Landy, thank you for hanging out with me and giving us the assessment. I'm ready for any market they throw at us. You know, I got my orb set up now.
Hell yeah.
I got my orb set up and I was trading it this week and I had a lot of success with it. So I can't wait to get that bad boy popping next week and just moving on that. That's just going to be great trading next week. Great. Especially with all the job stuff. It's going to be nice volatility. I need that.
Yeah, brother. Hey, I appreciate you having me as always, Hotep. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
And brother, kill it next week. I know I'm going to be killing it. I'm going to get into your stream. I'm going to watch you kill it too. So
let's go. Sir. See y'all next week with another recap. This is a nightly recap on GNN Network. I'm your host, Hotep Jesus. This is the Puppet Landy. We'll see y'all next time.